Hey, this is Gabe. Welcome back to another video. And this video, I want to talk about kits versus custom pins versus bespoke pins and my simple take on them. And the reason I want to talk about that is I just got this in the mail the other day. Normally when I get these in the mail, they just go right in the trash. I never look at them. But this time I wanted to see what was going on. And, you know, just the same old thing that I've seen for years. Maybe a slight variations of different pins. I've always liked the ones like that. But some of these pins are just a little too nichey, I guess. They're trying to fulfill too many different niches, you know, with little pets and things like that. And I suppose that's cute, but not exactly my cup of tea anymore. This is great, a good resource for you. If you're getting started in pin turning, kits-wise, and certainly that's where most people started out, so I'm not knocking it. I've done a lot of pin kits, nothing like what you see nowadays. I did a lot of cigar pins and whatnot. And one of my favorite kit pins in the past, besides the cigar pins and the Sierras, was this simple Churchill. Just a two-piece pin, nothing extreme as far as a kit goes. Pretty simple. You're limited to what you can turn in the middle. You can go either steampunk, you can do straight wood, you can do acrylics, you can go segmenting. There's a lot of variation and a lot of room to do whatever you want on the brass, on the tubes. So that's kind of cool. All right, this is a custom pin. Custom pin means it's a modified kit pin. This is the same sort of a kit as this one, the Churchill. I just closed the end here on both ends for the cap and the body. Made it a little bit longer, top and bottom, and did a lot of segmenting just to sort of suit my needs. Now this is a desk pin, there's no clip. As you see, this one has a clip, and this one is only pushed together from the middle. For the mechanical connection, and then utilizes the section and all that comes with it on the inside. Other than that, everything would be the same. So just a basic kit pin. That is a custom pin. Just like if you see cars, custom cars, well, it starts out as a regular manufactured car and it's heavily modified. That's customized. So when you modify a kit, now it becomes custom. So that's what that is. And a bespoke pin is completely custom or completely handmade from the entire body, the section, and the cap, including the clip. I know there are some people that use a lot of components as far as clips go. These are Joe number 6. This is a factory component here, as well as the converter on the inside. That is also a factory component. Those are acceptable as far as bespoke pins, but the section is completely handmade, as you know, well as your rings, your clip, everything, and so forth. When I'm making my bespoke pins, I use a variety of materials. This is a recycled leveler blind. I think these are 4-inch wide panels, and I cut them into 6 inches in length cards wise, so I have plenty of those to use. I think I cut 4 or 5 of those, and I've got several hundred of those cards to work with. for later on down the road. It'll last me for years. I also use aluminum and brass. I really like brass. So if you see this one here, see these brass details, those are solid rings, and that's what these are made out of. I bought the brass on Amazon, and .040, and that's what I use. Usually comes in sheets, 6 inches by 12 inches. I cut a couple inches or an inch or so off of this already, and that's what I use when I cut these down, and then I glue these on my pieces when I turn those down on my blanks. I also use 1/8 inch brass. This is 040 thick aluminum, or 0.040, and 0.020 thick aluminum. So all my decorative rings that you see on my pins, on my Bespoke pins, those are all totally Bespoke, and they're all cut out in the same manner like this. And I usually cut out strips of those, and then drill them out in sections, and then cut those off as I need them. And I usually keep those in one little drawer, and they're ready to go whenever I need them. And then I use these carbide inserts on my tools, which make it easy. And I've already used 4, getting ready to replace some more. And these are, of course, I get these on Amazon. These are relatively inexpensive and quite helpful, especially with turning those metals down. But you got to remember to wear safety glasses working with metals, because those shavings really do have a tendency to fly. Because I'm using a wood lathe, I don't have a metal lathe. So you want to take very shallow cuts with using these. And then the good thing about carbide is you can loosen that screw up, rotate it, then tighten it back down, and you always have a fresh edge. When that gets completely worn, throw it away, put another one on, you're good to go. So if you haven't done anything with carbide yet, carbide is really the best way to go when it comes to Bespoke pins, turning ebonite and acrylic and so forth. When it comes to making clips, I've used 50 caliber bullets. This is part of one of them, and you've seen my clips that I just showed you on my Bespoke pin, and that's what this starts out like. You can see I've cut that in half, and then I cut it down to shape. This is a clip made from a miniature spoon, and these are great to use, cheap also. This is an example of a larger spoon that I just bought, and the reason I like this is because, one, there's a lot of steel there, and it's pretty thick. That's about 1.5 millimeters thick or so, or 1.25 millimeters thick. So there's a lot of steel there. I just got to take this to the bandsaw, cut that off, and cut it in half, and then pound it flat. And then I've got quite a bit of steel without having to go buy a sheet of steel like this. This cost me $2. I can afford to make mistakes working with stuff like this all day long. When it comes to buying sheet steel in the right thicknesses, that can get a little pricey. It depends on your budget. So I'm always trying to save a buck wherever I can, because I know I'm going to make a mistake. And that's the other thing, is you can't be afraid to make mistakes. And the way to lessen mistakes is to have a plan. you know, draw things out as much as you can in detail, and then execute it with cheap materials or less expensive materials, and then try them out. Like this is a pattern one here, just out of 040 brass. Not too thick, but still easy to work with, easy to bend, and so forth. So, you know, you can afford that, and you can afford to make mistakes with brass. So you don't have to worry about using silver or something like that. You know, just like I said with the spoons, that's just cheap steel, but it looks good, especially when you polish it out. So, you know, don't be afraid to make a mistake. Spend a couple of bucks. But the only way to really get better at making bespoke pens is time on the tools. And, you know, different options for different materials that you can use. This is just aluminum wire. I think it's 1 millimeter thick, but this should make some decorative dots, some nice looking dots or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it was cheap. You know, what the heck? Give it a shot, and something will come of it. And, you know, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone when it comes to working on anything. One of the other things that I'm just now getting into is using a jeweler's saw. You know, I never used one before, so this is a pretty neat little tool. This one, of course, I got on Amazon. Just an inexpensive one for now. And this one came with a bunch of little blades. And, you know, this thing works really good for a cheap little saw for under 15 bucks. I was really impressed with it. Cuts that steel like nothing, like this right here. It has helped me quite a bit. And if I get really proficient at this, you know, I'm sure I will upgrade this to a better saw with better blades. And but for now, it's a great little learning tool. So I know in the past I've always said, get the tool that you always want, because that way you're going to save money in the long run. But sometimes it makes sense just to buy something that you need, something to learn with, because if you don't know it's something that you like or going to, you know, be proficient at it or want to do, sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and buy something cheap. And then if you like it, then make the investment for a real one. If you're not really sure, if you're not sure where to start when it comes to doing a fountain pen or a bespoke pen, if you're in antique shops, you can find pens like this for a couple of bucks. Usually they're broken, incomplete, or whatnot. And you can see that there's not a lot to these. And, you know, you can just buy them and take them apart. You know, soak them in water if they're stuck together. And you can get a good visual idea of how they're all put together. What's neat about this one is there's no threads here or here on the inside, and that's just a compression fit. You know, if you can drill a hole and then match that section to fit inside there and make it snug, then you don't need to worry about some of the threading. Now that is a really tiny pen, you know, and a small nib there, but this was a real pen made by a big company. This was made by Parker. I don't remember exactly when. I looked it up once, but probably in the 20s or 30s or something like that. And anyway, not a bad looking pen, multiple start threads on it, but it's a good way of, you know, buying something like this, getting a basic idea on it, just deconstructing it yourself. And if you could look at that and you can say, oh, I could do that, well, chances are you probably could. So you may make a few mistakes down the line, and that's okay. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that along, and hopefully some of this information will help someone along with some of the previous videos I've made. Again, if you've found any value in this, give me a thumbs up, and have a good day. Hey, this is Gabriel Castro. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. You can click on the link right here and subscribe. You can watch a video series right here or the latest video right here.